There's been a huge evolution in Disney princesses, from the way that they are portrayed to the roles they have in their own story. I gotta say that the studio has come a long way in how they present these ladies. Of course, what many would call the inception of all feature-length animation, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs followed the now generic fairy tale story formula, being a young damsel in distress with a problem too great to handle on her own is saved by the heroic prince. This formula is as textbook as they come, and we would later see it echoed in both Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. But as the years went on, the studio expanded their use of different story structures and tropes. Films like The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast introduced the new I Want song, replacing the I Wish songs previously heard in the originators. This was a step in the right direction by allowing these characters to take more control of the narrative, as well as add more layers to their personalities. Other films like Aladdin, Mulan, and Princess and the Frog were improvements because they diversified the brand culturally, as they introduced women of color, and of course the 21st century brought us Tangled and both Frozen films. But two movies that failed to deliver not just a well fleshed out female lead, but just a good compelling story in general, were Pocahontas and Brave. They both just missed the mark in too many areas and did not achieve what I believe they set out to do. With an exception of these two, a majority of these movies are great because they gave their female leads more developed personalities and a greater purpose in their own story. But still, the presence of a love interest still remained. But that is not to say that having a love interest diminishes the character or the story, but not always making it a necessity in every movie can sometimes help keep the focus specifically on the main character and their story. And though Mulan might have been the studio's first official action heroine, Moana has been the most emblematic to date. Her story and character arc are both great in proving this, so with that being said, I'm going to explain why Moana is the ideal heroine. Okay, so first I think it is important to talk about the premise of this film's story and how it pertains to Moana's role as a hero. You see, this movie goes in the direction of telling a story of destiny. It uses different elements and themes like legacy very well to portray that idea, but we'll get back to that later. But first, the film starts off with the young Moana who is being groomed to become the next village chief. She exhibits the qualities of a great leader, but it is clear that she is drawn to the ocean. And How Far I'll Go, she sings about how she knows that there is something within her that connects her to the sea. And when her grandma eventually takes her to the secret cave, that feeling is confirmed as she discovers that her ancestors were voyagers. But her grandma also explains that they had to stop voyaging because Maui had stolen the heart of Te Fiti, making sea travel dangerous. And this becomes a problem as their island is dying. However, this is where the story uses the chosen one trope as a way to give Moana true purpose. The ocean has chosen her to embark on this great journey to both find Maui so that he may restore the heart, as well as restore one of the traditions of her people that had been lost for 1,000 years. So now that we understand the premise of this story, we can look into how the film is able to successfully depict Moana as its true hero. Honestly, this movie keeps it simple in its approach to create that image of a hero. The two biggest factors are characterization and the role that she has in the story. For one, when analyzing a film or story's hero, I always look at the personality, and Moana is quite possibly the most fleshed out main protagonist Disney has ever created. So the next and probably most important thing this movie does to create that perfect image of a hero is allowing Moana to be in the driver's seat of the journey, the captain of the ship, if you will. In every critical scene of the movie, when they meet some type of confrontation, Moana is always the one who makes the big play, whether good or bad. Like when she is the one who swings into action to retrieve the heart back from the little coconuts, or when she saves Maui by coming up with the smart idea to trick Tamatoa. Her quick-witted nature most of the time helps her make the right decisions, but her impetuous tendencies can sometimes be detrimental. She is so headstrong and stubborn that she can make impulsive decisions without considering the consequences, and we see this when her and Maui have their first encounter with Te Kā. Instead of retreating like Maui says to, she tries to sail around the monster, again acting off impulse and hoping for the best, only this time it doesn't pay off. They are blasted far away from where they were, and Maui's hook suffers a huge blow. Knowing that one more could damage it, he angrily abandons her and leaves her alone. We now come to the point in the story where Moana questions why the ocean chose her and her overall identity as a hero. She tells the ocean that it has to choose someone else for this mission, believing she is not capable of completing it. This is the only scene in the movie I don't think is necessarily warranted given everything that had happened prior to it. In stories that use the chosen one trope, it isn't rare to use this as a plot point. If done right, it could enhance the story in a meaningful way. But this movie does not set itself up for a scene like this. Big Joe tackled this point in his video on whether this movie works or not. He explains that Moana feeling unworthy or incapable is not validated by this one mistake that she made, because throughout the movie, she is shown that she is more than capable and worthy of this mission. This one mistake she made should not be enough for her to doubt her capability. But of course, I think this scene was just a setup for the scene that was to follow, where Moana sees the spirit of her grandmother. Though the execution to get to this scene wasn't the best, this is honestly on its own the best scene in the movie for a few reasons. For one, it reintroduced the theme of legacy, as it reminded Moana that the other reason she is on this mission is to reinvigorate wayfinding back into her people's culture. And two, it allows Moana to have that strong independent moment without it being forced. If she was going to complete this journey, she was going to have to hold it down on her own, not wait around for someone else to come save the day for her, but continue on her quest to restore the heart. I think it was pretty clear that after Maui had abandoned Moana initially, it wouldn't be the last time we'd see him. But the thing is, his return doesn't serve as a rescue mission. He is there to help the hero as she completes her quest, not to do it for her. And that's the ironic thing, because it was supposed to be Maui who actually restored the heart. But it was Moana who realized who Te Kā really was and appealed to her kind and true nature. It was her who restored the heart. This is the moment that cemented her as the true hero of this story. Where Maui was supposed to be the hero of men, it was Moana who saved her people from the destruction and eventually ushered in a new generation of Voyagers. Okay, so now that we've discussed that, we can talk about some of the issues this movie has outside of its story. And I'm not talking about the music, animation, voice acting, or anything like that. All of those are great, but more like the controversial parts of this film. Now, first of all, as someone who is not Polynesian, I cannot speak on if I believe this film properly represented the culture that was being adapted. But I will say, out of all the acclaim Disney has gotten from this film, they have also received their fair share of criticism. One is the way they physically depicted Maui as being overweight. Many people took offense to this because it is stereotyping. They also dealt with issues of being accused of brownface after releasing a Maui costume. From the little research I've done on these two topics, there seemed to have been a consensus on the way people have felt about these two decisions, and with that being said, that is just something Disney is going to have to really work on when they create these films that involve foreign cultures. It is imperative that they remain as culturally accurate as possible, and I give credit to the directors of this film, Ron Clement and John Musker, as well as the main songwriter, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who worked with people of Pacific Islander heritage in various ways to do just that. Of course, the studio has a long way to go in cultural representation, but I believe Moana is a step in the right direction in terms of future heroines as well as more advanced storytelling. I am excited for future films like 2021's Raya and the Last Dragon, which, by reading the plot synopsis, seems promising. But Moana, to me, is the best Disney movie to come out since The Lion King. And I can already see some of y'all in the comments talking about Frozen this and Frozen that, but if I'm being honest, Frozen is just an overrated juggernaut, but that is a conversation for another day. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time for another story.